Hey everyone, welcome. Today we are diving into the absolutely fascinating story of matcha. You know, that vibrant green powder we all see everywhere now? But this isn't just about a trendy drink, oh no. This is a story about a massive industrial shift that has completely redrawn the global map of tea.
So let me start with a quick question for you. If you had to guess, who's the biggest matcha producer in the world? Go on, think about it. I bet most of you are thinking Japan, right? I mean, it's the country we all associate with matcha, with the tea ceremonies, the whole culture. But what if I told you that's no longer true? Yeah, the world of matcha has had this quiet revolution, and the new king of the hill is probably not who you think. Okay, so let's get right into this, because what has happened in the global matcha market over the last decade is nothing short of a total shakeup. It's a really wild story. It's projected that China now produces over half. Let me say that again, over half of the entire world's matcha supply. Just think about that for a second. More than half the matcha being sipped around the globe comes from China. And what's truly insane is that a decade ago, their industry barely even existed. And the engine behind this incredible rise? It's not some state-owned behemoth. Nope. It's a private company from a province you might not have even heard of. Guizhou Tea Group. They are the unlikely hero in this global saga. But to understand how on earth they pulled this off, we have to rewind a little bit. We need to talk about a huge problem that plagued not just them, but the entire Chinese tea industry for decades. Yeah, there was this saying that basically haunted the whole industry. 70,000 tea enterprises can't beat a single Lipton. I mean, how crazy is that? China was the world's largest tea-growing nation, right? But its thousands of companies, all put together, couldn't compete with one British brand from a country that doesn't even grow tea. So what was going on? Well, it really boiled down to two totally different philosophies. The traditional Chinese model was all about unique, beautiful, non-standardized loose-leaf tea. And that's great if you're in a little tea house, but it's impossible to scale up. Lipton, on the other hand, was built on industrial standardization, consistency, and a massive global brand. They were playing a totally different game. So how did Guizhou Tea Group crack this code? Well, their big break, their aha moment, came back in 2013 from a single, totally unexpected request from a major global client. So this client asks them if they could produce matcha for the European market. And that one little question sent them down this research rabbit hole. And what they found was absolutely game-changing. They saw a massive, untapped market. They found a powerful cultural story they could reclaim because matcha actually originated in China. And best of all, they realized they were sitting on a gold mine of the perfect raw materials. I mean, the sheer scale of the opportunity was just staggering. They ran the numbers and figured out that if just 1%, just one, of the world's coffee drinkers switched to matcha, the market would grow tenfold. This wasn't just a business plan anymore. This was a potential revolution. But, seeing the opportunity is one thing. Actually solving that old standardization problem, that's a whole other beast. And the answer, incredibly, came from a famous local liquor. So in Guizhou, they have one of the world's most famous liquor brands, Guizhou Mutai. And Mutai had already cracked the code. They'd figured out how to take a non-standard agricultural product, in their case grain, and turn it into a world-famous liquor with a perfectly consistent taste every single time. And Guizhou Tea Group basically said, wait a minute, we can do that for tea. They decided to borrow that exact same blueprint. So they tackled the problem with this brilliant two-step plan. First, they standardized the farms. They created an alliance to bring thousands of small plots up to super strict EU standards. Second, they took the raw tea, it's called tencha, and applied Mutai's blending magic to it, creating a final product with a perfectly consistent flavor, batch after batch after batch. And this became their new core philosophy. They completely stopped chasing that small and beautiful artisanal model. Their new mantra was simple. Scale equals stability. And stability is exactly what huge global brands like Starbucks are looking for. They need to know that the matcha latte they sell in New York will taste the same as the one in London. So what happened when they unleashed this radical new strategy? Well, this is where the story gets really dramatic. This is where Guizhou's industrial model went head-to-head with the traditional powerhouse, Japan. So this basically put two completely different philosophies in the ring. While Japan doubled down on its artisanal, story-driven approach, which is fantastic for premium brands, but really inconsistent at scale, Guizhou focused on one thing: being a large, strong, and incredibly reliable industrial supplier. And the result? Just look at this. By 2027, this single company from Guizhou is projected to produce more matcha than the entire nation of Japan. That's not just competition, folks. That is a complete and total paradigm shift. And their reach is already global. They're now exporting to over 50 countries and regions. And here's the wild twist. That even includes Japan itself. Yeah, some Japanese buyers have turned to them for a more stable, reliable supply of raw materials. How's that for irony?
Naturally, the local government has noticed. They now see matcha as the next motai, a signature industry for the whole province. And they've launched this massive 3-year plan to build an entire ecosystem around it, aiming for one world-class leader and supporting thousands of new family farms. They're going all in.
So you might be wondering, why haven't I ever seen Guizhou Tea Group on a menu? Well, that's the whole point. They didn't try to become a brand you'd recognize. They became a B2B powerhouse, the invisible but absolutely indispensable engine, providing consistent, high-quality matcha to the biggest brands in the world. This story is just incredible, right? It's a pattern of industrial transformation we're seeing in all sorts of fields, way beyond just tea. So I'll leave you with this question. Have you ever seen a traditional industry, maybe in your own world, in your hometown, get completely turned on its head by a new way of thinking? Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.